Isekai is a genre of anime that tends to have the worst of the worst, just trash upon trash, just shit on top of shit. But sometimes there are those hidden gems, but in those hidden gems are the top tier, the best of the best, and Mushoku Tensei is definitely the best of the best when it comes to isekai anime. Mushoku Tensei is good for a reason. It delves deep into the world, gives an actual story, progresses its characters, and just shows you the evolution and progression of the story, the characters, and everything that it has to offer. Now, even though Mushoku Tensei is an isekai masterpiece, I do think ReZero is better. The overall story for me hits different, and I like Subaru's character journey more. Both are top tier, I can definitely agree on that, and I feel that everyone else can agree on that too. Now, objectively speaking, I can see how Mushoku Tensei would be viewed as better than ReZero, and honestly, one of the greatest, if not the best, isekai anime of all time. But before all that, what's up guys, Storm back here with another video, and if you like the content you're seeing, then be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and if you want to see more of me, be sure to go check out my other channels and go follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, which will all be linked down below. Now, without further ado, why don't we just dive right on in. So it's the overall story that grabs your attention when you first watch Mushoku Tensei. When Rudeus is first reincarnated, you want to see what he does, you want to see how he grows as a character and what he manages to accomplish as the story goes on. You think that he's automatically going to be overpowered and get every girl in the verse, but that's not how it is at all. As soon as the story starts, Rudeus is born, and it takes its time. It's the pacing that drives the story forward. The story unfolds as Rudeus gets older, and as he gets older, he learns more. When he's only a couple years old, he learns about magic for the first time, and over time, that's how he grows stronger and eventually becomes the powerhouse that he is in the current season. And as Rudeus grows up and continues to learn more about magic in the world as a whole, he meets other characters, and you get introduced to the side characters in the overall world, and you begin to connect with them on a deeper level as the story goes on. Now, the series takes an interesting direction because you see Rudeus grow not only as a character, but as a person over time, and that connects with the side characters, and they all get their time to shine. Like I said, the story progression makes sense as it's Rudeus getting older and learning more about the world, learning more about magic, and as he goes to different places, goes to different parts of the world, travels with different companions, the story moves forward and gets better. For the first part, he's learning about the world, he's grown up. For about the first 7 years of his life, he learned about magic in his hometown. He had Roxy train him to get better. He was learning swordsmanship from his dad. He was growing closer and forming a bond with the overall family, with his mom, his dad, Lilia, and that's one of the main focal points of the overall story and one of the themes that pushes Mushoku Tensei forward as well. Family, it's something that Rudeus didn't really have in his past life. Technically, he did have it, but he just gave up on it when he became a shut-in. And from then on, he wants to go to school with Sylphie, but he needs money, so his dad gets him a job where he's teaching Eris, and that's where he meets Ghislaine and Eris. He teaches them for a few years, and he also learns from them. He gets stronger, and he learns about the languages of the world as well. That is until the teleportation disaster happens, and he and Eris are transported to the demonic continent where they meet Rugierd, where they travel for the next couple years. And this is also something that other isekai anime don't have. The show has stakes. It has moments where you think that bad shit is going to happen, and bad shit does happen. And the biggest example of that is when they all meet Orsted, and they all just get absolutely bodied by Mans. He just rocks their shit. It's so bad that in the current season, Rudeus met Orsted's companion, and Mans had PTSD flashbacks of getting bodied. But he eventually makes it home, but all the while he was growing closer with Eris. And well, after doing the deed, she ends up leaving to go on her own journey and ends up breaking Rudeus' heart, which in the beginning of season 2, he goes on to travel to try and find his mother and mend his broken heart. But all the while, he was also looking for his family, which, like I said, is another big point of the story. While on that continent, Rudeus met his dad again, but they had a falling out as he wasn't looking for his family. He was on a journey just traveling home, and he had no idea that his family had been transported also. So that's another big thing. The drama between characters is kinda crazy too. And it shows because you feel the tension between this father and his son. You feel that Rudeus disappointed his father and he feels bad for that. You feel the disappointment that Paul, Rudeus' dad, has in him. They obviously make up, and after some more shenanigans with Lilia and Rudeus' two sisters, he gets back home, and like I said before, he gets his heart broken by Eris and goes on to travel in his journey. And in season 2, he meets a band of travelers or adventurers, and he begins to grow closer to them while being depressed. But he manages to get through his depression as he grows closer to them, and he gets closer to one specifically, but it doesn't really work out, and he goes off on his own, and eventually he ends up in the magical school that he and Sophie always wanted to go to. That's where the series is at currently, but it's the character journey of Rudeus Greyrat that makes Mushoku Tensei so good. He goes from this worthless piece of garbage that lived his life with no purpose and as a massive pervert to someone who grows over time, learning from their past mistakes in order to move forward as not only a better character, but to try and be a better person while also being a pervert. And it's not only the experiences that he goes through that make him a better person and a better character and makes him learn from his past mistakes, but it's also the people and other characters he meets along the way, like Roxy, his master, who taught him to be better at magic, but also taught him to not be afraid when he goes out into the world. And then Eris, the girl he really opened up his heart to for the first time. And now we got Sophie, or Fitz, and I'm excited to see what direction that goes in. But the main aspect of their characters is they push Rudeus as a character forward while also having their own personalities and being good characters in their own right. It's not just those 4 characters, it's a lot of the other characters that Rudeus meets along the way. Like Rugierd is a goat, so is Orsted. That man is a downright menace. A lot of them are interesting, and you honestly want to see what they do and what they manage to accomplish as the story progresses. But then there's the world building that's honestly kind of insane when it comes to an isekai. Usually it's just they go to the royal capital, Town 1, Town 2, Boss 1, Boss 2, fight in the Demon Lord Castle, basic shit like that. But as Rudeus explores more of the world, you see more of the world alongside with them. You see all the different continents and how they made different languages and actually put in the effort to show that it's another world with people, magic, and a whole society, which shows that Mushoku Tensei isn't just a generic isekai with an overpowered MC with a harem, but actually has a lot of thought put into it, but also the little hints about the overall lore of the world as well. Like I mentioned, Dragon God Orsted, but also the Man God, but also the events that happened in the past, and important figures that Rudeus meets that build up the overall world and make it feel like an actual place. But I think one of the craziest things for me while watching the anime is, I mentioned the languages before, they made up languages that they speak in the show. Like, it's not just Japanese, they're full on speaking a different language sometimes when certain characters are talking to other characters. And it's not just 1 or 2, there's like 3 or fucking 4 of them. Now the visuals are also interesting. The animation can be pretty good at some points, with the voice actors doing a good job to embody the characters, with the soundtracks being pretty godly at some points. But all of this is just to show Rudeus' story, Rudeus Greyrat, the man who got reincarnated. It's literally in the name, jobless reincarnation. His story, him becoming a better person, becoming a better human. In his previous life, he did nothing. He was a massive pervert that just stayed inside all day playing video games, watching anime, reading manga, and pushed away everyone that was close to him. But after being reborn, he begins to change and has a character progression that's honestly one of the best I've seen in anime. He goes from that perverted, worthless piece of garbage who did nothing to a man who will do anything to protect the ones he cares about and wanted to keep them close, to traveling the world and becoming stronger and learning everything about this new world that he was born into, while all at the same time being a pervert with the one thing that he holds the highest regards, and that is Roxy's panties. Overall though, all of this is just to show how goated Mushoku Tensei is and what an isekai anime should strive for. It's just everything from the story, the characters, the world building that make this just such a good anime to watch, and if you haven't seen it, then you definitely need to check it out. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.